Happening today, Governor Maura Healey will be making 2 stops in Springfield. For more on this, we turn things over to Western Mass News reporter Taylor Smith, who's live in studio. Taylor, what can you tell us about these events?
Well, Amanda, Governor Maura Healey is making her rounds and plans to touch on a variety of topics to better address the needs of Massachusetts residents. Today, Governor Healey will give remarks at Massachusetts Building Trades Union's 106th annual conference, where she will be accompanied by Labor and Workforce Development Secretary Lauren Jones, Division of Capital Asset Management and Maintenance Commissioner Adam Back, and President of Massachusetts Building Trades Union Frank Callahan. Afterwards, she'll host a press conference to announce a new executive order to ensure construction projects are safe, on time, and within budget. And following that, Governor Maura Healey will then host an event at MGM Springfield ahead of April 15th tax filing deadline to promote the savings Massachusetts taxpayers will be seeing, which she credits to the tax cut packages that she signed back in 2023. And this includes one of the top child and family tax credits in the nation. And this year, Massachusetts families will receive $440 per dependent child, adult with disabilities, or senior. And that's an increase from $180 per dependent with a 2-dependent cap. And for this stop, Healey will be accompanied by Department of Revenue Commissioner Jeffrey Cinder, Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno, state and local officials, and community stakeholders. And in the next half hour, I will share Governor Maura Healey's latest actions to combat rising utility bills for thousands of customers across the state. And reporting live in the studio, Taylor Smith, Western Mass News.